Welcome back, friends. This is video lesson number 2, Odysseus and the Wind God. You can see up on the screen that I've put an image of Odysseus leaving Penelope and Telemachus in Ithaca to make his way with his troops to Troy to fight the Trojan War. You can see Odysseus there in his armor with his shield and spear, and the ships him and his men will sail on in the background, and there's Penelope saying farewell to her husband with their son, Telemachus, in her arms. Now, it's tempting to think that this is the beginning of our story, and in a way it is, historically, but in the text, in the poem, the Odyssey, the action actually begins with Odysseus shipwrecked with Calypso, who will not let him leave, and then quickly transitions to Telemachus, down here on the chart at plot event 1, where he is leaving Ithaca to go find his father. And he goes to see Nestor, and he goes to see King Menelaus, who fought with his father at Troy. And then he returns to Ithaca only to find men there who are trying to marry his mother Penelope. But meanwhile, the story goes back to Odysseus leaving Troy after the successful Trojan horse trick, and then being cursed by Poseidon to wander. And wander he does. He goes to the Isles of the Chiconians, the Lotus Eaters, the Cyclops encounter, which we had in our last lesson. And then now he is at the foot of Aeolus, the wind god. And that's the focus of our lesson today. So I'd like you to listen to this passage from Book 10 that describes how Odysseus is helped by the wind god. And then I'm going to give you a chance to earn 15 points by answering 3 analytical questions in assignment 38, which we'll cover at the end. So you can follow along with the text that will be on the screen and listen to the narration.
At last. Book 10. The Bewitching Queen of Aea. We reached the Aeolian island next, the home of Eros, Hippotas' son, beloved by the gods who never die. A great floating island it was, and round it all huge ramparts rise of indestructible bronze, and sheer rock cliffs shoot up from sea to sky. The king had sired 12 children within his halls, 6 daughters and 6 sons in the lusty prime of youth. So he gave his daughters as wives to his 6 sons. Seated beside their dear father and doting mother, with delicacies aplenty spread before them, they feast on forever. All day long the halls breathe the savour of roasted meats, and echo round the low moan of blowing pipes. And all night long, each one by his faithful mate, they sleep under soft piled rugs on corded bedsteads. To this city of theirs we came, their splendid palace, and Eros hosted me one entire month. He pressed me for news of Troy and the Argive ships and how we sailed for home, and I told him the whole long story, first to last. And then when I begged him to send me on my way, he denied me nothing. He went about my passage. He gave me a sack, the skin of a full-grown ox, binding inside the winds that howl from every quarter, for Zeus had made that king the master of all the winds, with power to calm them down or rouse them as he pleased. Eros stowed the sack inside my holes, lashed so fast with a burnished silver cord, not even a slight puff could slip past that knot. Yet he set the west wind free to blow us on our way and waft our squadron home. But his plan was bound to fail. Yes, our own reckless follies swept us on to ruin. 9 whole days we sailed, 9 nights, non-stop. On the 10th, our own land hove into sight at last. We were so close we could see men tending fires. But now an enticing sleep came on me, bone-weary from working the vessel's sheet myself, no let-up, never trusting the ropes to any other mate, the faster to journey back to the native land. But the crews began to mutter among themselves, Sure I was hauling troves of gold and silver home, the gifts of open-hearted Aeolus, Hippotas' son. The old story, one man glanced at another, grumbling. Look at our captain's luck, so loved by the world, so prized at every landfall, every port of call. Heaps of lovely plunder he hauls home from Troy, while we who went through slogging just as hard, we go home empty-handed. Now this Aeolus loads him down with treasure. Favoritism, friend to friend. Hurry, let's see what loot is in that sack. How much gold and silver? Bring it open, now. A fatal plan, but it won my shipmates over. They loosed the sack, and all the winds burst out, and a sudden squall struck and swept us back to sea, wailing in tears far from our own native land. And I woke up with a start, my spirits churning. Should I leap over the side and drown at once, or grin and bear it, stay among the living? I bore it all, held firm, hiding my face, clinging tight to the decks, while heavy squalls blasted our squadron back again to Aeolus' island, shipmates groaning hard. We disembarked on the coast, drew water there, and crewmen snatched a meal by the swift ships. Once we'd had our fill of food and drink, I took a shipmate along with me, a herald too, and approached King Aeolus' famous halls, and here we found him feasting beside his wife and many children. Reaching the doorpost at the threshold, down we sat, but our host, amazed to see us, only shouted questions. Back again, Odysseus? Why? Some blustering god attacked you? Surely we launched you well. We said you on your way to your own land and house, or any place you please. So they taunted, and I replied in deep despair. A mutinous crew undid me, that and a cruel sleep. Set it to rights, my friends, you have the power. So I pleaded, gentle, humble appeals. But our host turned silent, hushed, and the father broke forth with an ultimatum. Away from my island, fast, most cursed man alive. It's a crime to host a man or speed him on his way, when the blessed deathless gods despise him so, crawling back like this. It proves the immortals hate you. Out. Get out.
And that brings us to the end of Odysseus's encounter with the wind god. As you can tell, it does not go well at all for Odysseus. So what I'd like to do now, I'd like you to read the assignment. I'll bring it up on the screen. It's assignment 38. And assignment 38 asks you to read pages 20 through 21 in our graphic classics text. That'll give you another version of the narrative and some artistic interpretations. We've already watched the video lesson. We're in the middle of that now. And then I'd like you to click the Take the Quiz button and then answer these questions in complete sentences. Here's the first question. Personification is a literary device in which non-human things are described as having human characteristics. In the highlighted lines from Book 10 above, Homer describes the wind god's place using personification. Explain what part of the setting is being described using personification and how personification works in this package. I've highlighted the personification where it says, all day long the halls breathe the savor of roasted meats. That's an example of personification, so I'd like you to describe how that personification works. What's being personified and how is it being personified? Here's question 2. In the highlighted questions from Book 10 above, Odysseus' crew is tempted to ignore their leader's warnings and open the wind god's sack. Considering the highlighted text above, explain the conflict between the crew and Odysseus and explain how the crew justifies their deceitful behavior. The crew did exactly what Odysseus told them not to do, but they had a reason, and I would like you to explain the nature of the conflict between Odysseus' crew. Why were they so deceitful in ignoring what their leader forbid them to do? You can type that into the space there below question 2. And then finally, question 3. After the crew defies Odysseus, the winds are released from the sack and they are blown back to the waters, from the waters near Ithaca to the wind god's island. When Odysseus asks the wind god's forgiveness and continued help, Odysseus refuses him and sends him away. Why does the wind god do this? And explain and offer textual evidence from the text above. The highlighted portion is where the wind god explains why he refuses to help Odysseus any longer. You can put your answer right here in complete sentences. Friends, if you complete and submit that assignment, I will give you 15 points, and we'll be well on your way to success in fourth marking period. I know that it's a challenging time to be a high school student, but let's keep working together and keep on top of your studies in this and all your other classes. Try to have a good time with it, and I'll see you soon with video lesson 3, which will talk to you about Odysseus' encounter with the goddess witch Circe. Bye for now.